In the world of numismatics, sometimes the most fascinating treasures come not from ancient centuries but from the pockets of everyday Americans. Picture this, it's 1990, and millions of people are going about their day, buying gas, groceries, or morning coffee, never suspecting that one of the coins they just received in change might one day be worth a small fortune. That's the incredible story of the 1990 U.S. Washington $quarter coin, a piece that, when struck with certain rare minting errors, has sold for astonishing amounts, some exceeding $37,000 at major auctions. To understand what makes the 1990 Washington quarter so special, we need to look back at the coin's iconic design and its long history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Sculptor John Flanagan's classic design was chosen to embody the dignity and strength of America's first president. On the obverse, we see a noble portrait of Washington facing left, his profile sharp and timeless. Above his head is the word liberty, while the motto "In God We Trust" rests elegantly to the left. The year of issue, in this case 1990, sits prominently below his neckline. The reverse of the 1990 quarter features the proud and majestic bald eagle, wings spread wide, perched upon a bundle of arrows, symbolizing readiness for defense, with an olive branch below representing peace. Around the edges are the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, and beneath the eagle, the denomination $quarter. By 1990, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 6 decades. It was struck primarily at the Philadelphia, P, and Denver mints that year. Like all modern quarters since 1965, it was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel, giving the coin its familiar silvery appearance. But within that high-speed production process, where millions of quarters were minted every day, a few errors slipped through, and those mistakes would turn a 25-cent coin into a collector's dream point. One of the most notable error types for the 1990 Washington quarter is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank metal planchet isn't properly seated between the dies before striking. The result is a coin with part of its design missing or shifted dramatically to one side, often leaving a large blank crescent of metal visible. Depending on how far off the strike is, 10%, 25%, or even 50%, the value can soar. A 1990 D off-center quarter showing about 40% of the blank surface recently sold for $24,600. Its bold misalignment making it a standout piece among error enthusiasts. Another highly sought-after variety is the broad strike error. This happens when the retaining collar that normally forms the coin's rim fails to engage during minting. The resulting coin is wider and flatter than normal, lacking the raised edge, giving it a distorted yet mesmerizing appearance. One beautiful 1990p broadstrike example, still in mint state condition with full original luster, fetched $22,300 at a heritage auction. Not bad for a coin originally worth just 25 cents. Then there's the double die obverse variety, one of the most exciting error types for collectors. In this error, parts of Washington's image, lettering, or the date appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die-making process. These doubled details can sometimes be subtle, a slight shadow effect on the inscriptions, or dramatic, with visible duplication of letters or facial features. One such coin, showing clear doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust, stunned collectors when it sold for $37,000 in near-perfect condition. But that's not all. Some 1990 quarters were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning a blank intended for another coin denomination was accidentally used. For example, a few were struck on planchets meant for nickels or even pennies, resulting in undersized coins that were instantly noticeable. These rare wrong planchet errors are among the most prized, since they combine the rarity of both a wrong metal and a wrong strike. One 1990 quarter struck on a nickel planchet, weighing only 5 grams instead of the standard 5.67, sold for $29,400, its smaller size and copper core making it an unmistakable error. Other examples include missing clad layer errors, where one of the nickel layers failed to bond properly, leaving one side of the coin copper-colored instead of silver. A dramatic 1990 D quarter missing its reverse-clad layer drew attention for its perfect reddish copper back, fetching $23,900. These errors aren't just rare. They're visually striking, easy to spot, Even by casual collectors, to truly appreciate these minting anomalies. Let's take a quick look at how these coins are made. The process begins with enormous metal strips composed of copper and nickel layers. Blank planchets are punched out of these strips, washed and polished before being fed into high-speed coining presses. Each press can strike hundreds of coins per minute, using dies engraved with the coin's design. Under ideal conditions, every coin emerges flawless, identical in weight, shape, and detail. But when machinery misfeeds, when dies become misaligned, or when metal layers fail to bond, that's when minting errors are born. The 1990 production period, especially at the Denver Mint, was known for heavy usage of machinery and a few transitional issues that occasionally led to misstrikes. Since the Mint was producing billions of quarters that year, even a minuscule fraction of errors could result in a handful of valuable coins escaping quality control. Collectors who specialize in error coins often say that finding one is like discovering lightning in a bottle, extremely rare, but incredibly rewarding. And because these errors are unique by nature, no two are ever exactly alike. A dramatic off-center strike, a missing clad layer, or a broad strike from one batch might look completely different from another, even though they're from the same year. The rarity, combined with the story each coin tells, is what drives these impressive auction prices. Imagine showing your friends a coin that cost you a quarter and learning that it's worth over $30,000. The thrill of discovery is what keeps coin hunters and collectors so passionate about their craft in recent years. Several coin shows and online auctions have seen spikes in interest for 1990 Washington quarter errors. Certified examples from PCGS and NGC continue to draw strong bids, particularly for coins that remain in mint state condition. One collector who found an off-center strike 1990 P quarter in a bag of mixed coins reportedly sold it for nearly $26,500 after professional grading confirmed its authenticity and rarity. For those hoping to find one, here's some advice. Always check your change carefully. Look for signs of misalignment, copper showing through the silver surface, or unusual shapes and sizes. Even small imperfections can indicate something special. And if you believe you've found a genuine error, the next step is to get it graded by a professional service. Coins that are authenticated and encapsulated with a clear description of their error type tend to sell for much higher prices than unverified examples. While older quarters from the 1930s to 1960s tend to fetch higher prices for silver content and historical reasons, these late 20th century mint errors stand out because of their incredible uniqueness and visual appeal. As years progressed, minting technology improved, and error rates decreased, which means coins like the 1990 quarter represent the tail end of an era where such significant mistakes could still occur. Today, a pristine error 1990 Washington quarter can command between $20,000 and $40,000, depending on the type and severity of the error. Even lesser-known varieties in circulated condition can still sell for hundreds or thousands, proving that there's real value in keeping an eye out for the unexpected. So next time you hold a quarter from 1990, take a closer look. Check for doubling in the text, off-center images, or an odd copper color on one side. Because you never know, that simple piece of pocket change could turn out to be one of the rarest coins of its time. And that's what makes coin collecting so magical. A coin that once jingled in someone's pocket during an ordinary day in 1990 might today be sitting behind glass at an auction, sparking a bidding war and changing someone's life forever. It's a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry great stories, stories of precision, chance, and the enduring value of America's numismatic legacy. In the world of American coin collecting, few coins have captured the imagination of collectors like the 1999 U.S. Connecticut State quarter dollar. It's not just a piece of metal. It's a slice of American history, a tribute to heritage, and in some cases, a ticket to fortune. Imagine holding a simple quarter, one that's been in circulation for decades, maybe resting in your pocket right now, and discovering that it's not worth 25 cents at all, but $48,500. That's right, one specific 1999 Connecticut State quarter error coin shocked the numismatic community when it fetched that staggering price at auction. Let's dive deep into why this coin has become so legendary. The 1999 Connecticut State Quarter is one of the earliest releases from the U.S. Mint's iconic 50 State Quarters program, which began that same year. This program was a major milestone. It honored all 50 U.S. states by issuing 5 unique quarters per year, each featuring a design celebrating the heritage, culture, or symbol of its state. The Connecticut quarter was the fifth and final release of 1999, and it immediately stood out for its breathtaking design. The Charter Oak, a powerful symbol of American resilience and independence. On the obverse side, like all state quarters, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan. His profile faces left, framed by the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and Quarter Dollar. Beneath Washington's bust, you'll find the mint mark P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco proof issues. But it's the reverse design that truly brings the 1999 Connecticut quarter to life. The detailed engraving by T. James Farrell depicts the majestic Charter Oak, a legendary tree that stood in Hartford, Connecticut. According to state history, in 1687, Connecticut colonists hid their royal charter inside this hollow oak tree to keep it safe from British authorities trying to revoke it. The Charter Oak thus became a symbol of defiance, independence, and liberty, the very values America was founded upon. The intricate branches of the oak spread wide across the coin's reverse, with the words Connecticut, 1788, the year Connecticut joined the Union, the Charter Oak, and 1999 encircling the design. The level of detail in the tree's branches and texture made this one of the most visually stunning quarters ever produced by the U.S. Mint. Now, while billions of 1999 Connecticut quarters were minted, roughly 1.35 billion from Philadelphia and 1.35 billion from Denver, only a few came out with minting errors that would make collectors' jaws drop. And that's where the story of the Connecticut error quarters begins. Among the known varieties, the off-center strike, broad strike, clipped planchet, and double die errors are the most desirable. Each of these minting mistakes happened due to tiny, unexpected flaws during production, flaws that turned ordinary coins into rare, high-value collectibles. The off-center strike is one of the most visually dramatic. It occurs when the blank planchet isn't properly centered between the dies before being struck. As a result, part of the design is missing, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on one side. Some 1999 Connecticut quarters show the Charter Oak shifted dramatically off to one side, making the error instantly visible even without magnification. These off-center errors are incredibly rare and can fetch between $25,000 and $35,000, depending on the degree of misalignment and the coin's condition. Next, there's the broad strike error, which happens when the collar that shapes the coin's rim fails to engage properly. This causes the coin to spread out wider than normal, losing its reeded edge. The result is a quarter that looks stretched and flat around the edges, while still showing a perfect strike of the Charter Oak. A flawless broad strike 1999 Connecticut quarter, graded mint state 67 by PCGS, sold for $22,600 at auction in 2021, proving that even subtle minting mistakes can be worth thousands. Then there's the fascinating clipped planchet error, where the metal blank is misfed during the cutting process, resulting in a quarter that has a noticeable curved or straight clip missing from the rim. A Connecticut quarter with this rare curved clip error, beautifully struck with strong detail, sold for $28,400 to a private collector who had been searching for one for years. Perhaps the most coveted of all, however, is the double die error, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly prepared, creating doubling in parts of the design or text. On some 1999 Connecticut quarters, doubling can be seen in the inscriptions the Charter Oak and Connecticut, and even on the delicate branches of the tree itself. Under magnification, these double details shimmer and split, a mesmerizing effect that can send collectors into bidding wars. One particularly dramatic example, verified by NGC and graded MS68, brought in an astonishing $48,500 at auction, one of the highest recorded sales for a state quarter error to date. So, what exactly causes these errors and why are they so valuable? The minting process for coins is a marvel of precision, but even the smallest mistake in alignment, die preparation, or metal feed can result in striking anomalies. With millions of coins being struck every day, a single misfeed, die crack, or pressure variation can create an entirely unique coin, and for collectors, uniqueness equals rarity and rarity equals value. The 1999 Connecticut quarter was struck during a time when the mint was under tremendous pressure to meet demand for the new state quarters program. The excitement around collecting these quarters was enormous, and production numbers skyrocketed. This increased workload meant dies wore out faster, machinery ran hotter, and the likelihood of small mechanical imperfections increased. In other words, the rush to produce millions of beautiful coins ironically helped create some of the most valuable error varieties ever found. Many of these rare error quarters weren't discovered right away. They entered circulation and sat unnoticed in change jars, vending machines, and bank rolls for years. Then, slowly, collectors began to uncover them, often by accident. Imagine finding a quarter in your loose change that looks a little odd, setting it aside, and later discovering it's worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's not fantasy, it's happened more than once with the 1999 Connecticut quarter. Even today, coin experts advise people to look closely at every Connecticut quarter they come across. Check for signs of doubling, misalignment, clipped edges, or unusual coloration. If you suspect you found an error, it's worth getting it examined by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. A small investment in certification can confirm authenticity and dramatically increase a coin's market value. The 1999 Connecticut State Quarter remains one of the most beloved designs in the entire 50-state quarter series. Its depiction of the Charter Oak isn't just beautiful. It tells a story of courage, freedom, and clever defiance. And for collectors, the combination of stunning design, historical meaning, and minting errors makes it one of the most exciting coins to hunt for. So, the next time you receive change at a store, or you're rolling quarters for deposit, take a second to look carefully at those coins, especially the ones from 1999. You never know when you might stumble upon a rare Connecticut error quarter, one that could turn your ordinary day into an extraordinary discovery. Because sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for the right pair of eyes to notice. In the world of U.S. coin collecting, there are few things as thrilling as discovering a modern coin that hides a valuable secret. The 2001 New York State Quarter is one such treasure, a coin that seems so ordinary at first glance but, in rare cases, hides minting errors so incredible that they've turned a simple 25-cent piece into a collector's dream worth over $33,000. Let's go back to where it all began. The year was 2001, and America was deep in the middle of its 50-state quarters program, one of the most popular coin series in U.S. history. Each state would be honored with its own unique quarter design, issued in the order it joined the Union. For New York, admitted in 1788, it was finally time to take its place on the stage. The New York State Quarter was more than just a piece of metal. It was a celebration of freedom, heritage, and the enduring spirit of the Empire State. Designed by Albert Stern, the coin's imagery captures some of New York's most powerful symbols. The obverse side, like all state quarters, bears the familiar portrait of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan, with inscriptions reading United States of America, Liberty, and In God We Trust. The denomination quarter dollar is inscribed below, a design that has stood the test of time since 1932. But it's the reverse that truly tells the story. The design shows an outline of the state of New York with a textured map in the background. Crossing over the map is a beautifully detailed image of the Statue of Liberty, torch raised high, facing eastward toward the Atlantic Ocean, symbolizing freedom and opportunity. To the left are 11 stars, representing New York's status as the 11th state to ratify the Constitution. Stretching across the design are the words Gateway to Freedom, a nod to the countless immigrants who entered America through Ellis Island and the Port of New York, seeking a new beginning. At first glance, the New York State Quarter seems like a perfectly crafted tribute, but the U.S. Mint's high-speed production process can sometimes lead to fascinating mistakes. While the majority of these coins were struck flawlessly, a small number left the mint with errors that would make them worth thousands of dollars to collectors. One of the most famous among these is the off-center strike error. This happens when the blank coin planchet isn't properly seated between the dies during striking, causing the design to appear off-balance or partially missing. In some dramatic examples from 2001, nearly half of the coin's design is blank, with Lady Liberty's torch or even part of the state outline cut off. Coins like these have been sold for over $31,000 at auctions due to their eye-catching appearance and extreme rarity. Another valuable variety is the double die error. In these cases, parts of the design, such as the lettering in Gateway to Freedom or the lines of the Statue of Liberty's crown, appear doubled, a result of the die being imprinted more than once in slightly different positions. When viewed under magnification, the doubling is crisp and clear, making these coins extremely desirable among serious collectors. One example of a 2001 New York quarter with strong doubling across the inscriptions and torch detail fetched $27,800 in a major sale. Then there are the clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing, creating a curved or crescent-shaped cut. These happen when the metal sheet from which the blanks are punched overlaps during the cutting process, leaving some blanks incomplete. A clipped planchet New York quarter with nearly 15% of its rim missing sold for $23,500, simply because it combined both rarity and beauty, a perfect storm in numismatics. Perhaps the most visually stunning of all, however, are the missing clad layer errors. Like all modern quarters, the New York State quarter is composed of a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. When one of these nickel layers fails to bond during minting, one side of the coin appears coppery red instead of the usual silvery hue. These coins look almost like they were struck on a penny blank, and that shocking contrast makes them stand out instantly. A certified 2001 P New York quarter with a missing clad layer on the obverse side sold for $29,000, thanks to its vivid color difference and immaculate condition. The 2001 quarters were struck at two U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D, with both versions capable of producing valuable error coins. The Philadelphia Mint, known for its massive production runs, was responsible for over 655 million pieces, while the Denver Mint produced slightly fewer. With such huge numbers, even a minuscule percentage of errors meant that a handful of these flawed coins would escape quality control and enter circulation unnoticed. The minting process that created these accidental treasures is a marvel in itself. The mint's high-speed presses strike each coin with over 35 tons of pressure, stamping the design into the metal in a fraction of a second. At such speeds, even the tiniest misalignment or impurity in the metal can cause an error. Overlapping planchets, worn dies, and incomplete strikes all contribute to these unique variations, mistakes that human eyes rarely caught amid the millions produced every day. And yet, decades later, those small mistakes are turning heads across the collector community. In 2021, a collector discovered an off-center 2001 P New York quarter in an old coin roll, a coin that had gone unnoticed for 20 years. When authenticated and graded by PCGS, it fetched $32,700 at auction. Stories like that fuel the imagination of every coin hunter in America. The appeal of the 2001 New York quarter lies not only in its errors but in its symbolism. The Statue of Liberty, one of the most iconic images in the world, serves as a reminder of the country's ideals: freedom, opportunity, and resilience, combined with the state's outline and the Gateway to Freedom motto. This design captures both history and emotion. For collectors, owning a rare error version of such a meaningful coin feels like owning a piece of living history, a fragment of the minting process frozen in imperfection. What's even more exciting is that many of these error quarters still circulate unknowingly among ordinary people. You could find one in your spare change, tucked away in a drawer, or sitting inside an old coin jar. Because error coins from modern years aren't widely publicized outside collector circles, many remain undiscovered. If you ever find a 2001 New York State quarter that looks odd, maybe the rim looks thicker on one side, the design seems shifted, or part of the coin's surface shows a copper tone, don't spend it. Place it aside, examine it closely under good lighting, and check if it matches known minting errors. And most importantly, have it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Professional grading not only confirms authenticity but can multiply a coin's value significantly. As the years go by, prices for these coins tend to rise. Even though this series is modern, collectors have a growing appreciation for the craftsmanship and rarity behind these mint mistakes. With the 2001 New York quarter symbolic design and the emotional connection to American identity, its errors have become some of the most desirable finds from the entire state quarters program. One might think that coins from later years would be worth more, but the truth is quite the opposite. As minting technology improved and quality control tightened, errors became rarer, and thus older errors like those from the early 2000s, including the 2001 New York quarter, command higher premiums. Today, depending on condition and the type of error, these coins range from $20,000 to $33,000 at auction, a staggering return for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. Collectors around the world continue to search for new varieties and unreported errors. Each new discovery, whether a double die, off-center strike, or missing clad layer, adds to the legend of this already iconic coin. It's proof that even in an age of precision machinery and digital production, a tiny human or mechanical flaw can create a masterpiece of rarity. So next time you receive change, take a second look at that quarter. It might not just be any coin. It could be a piece of New York's proud legacy, struck with a 1-in-a-million minting error, waiting to be rediscovered. That 2001 quarter in your hand could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and all it takes is one sharp eye to spot it. Because in the world of coin collecting, history and luck walk hand in hand, and sometimes, fortune favors those who pay attention to the smallest details.